Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at Am I the Butthole? So if you fancy getting infuriated, this one will definitely be one for you. It is so amazingly, stunningly sunny outside today, even if it is still as cold as a polar bear's chocolate starfish. So I've had to close my curtains, and now I feel like I'm recording from the Batcave, which is absolutely fine for me because I kind of like to look like people would wonder maybe she's born with it, maybe she's a 400-year-old corpse. You know, those kind of vibes. So yeah, if it's nice and sunny where you are today, I hope you're listening to this from outside, somewhere nice. Get some vitamin D. Don't be rude. Anyway, like, subscribe, and let's get into it. We are starting off strong today. Am I the butthole for leaving my sister's wedding after she made me the butt of a family joke? I, 25F, have always been the responsible one in my family. I've helped raise my younger siblings, worked 2 jobs during college, and even financially supported my parents when they hit a rough patch. My older sister, Rachel, 30F, has always been the family favourite. She's outgoing, funny, and everyone gravitates towards her. She got married last week and things hit the fan. I've never understood that, about family favourites. It's like, I get it if they're not your immediate family. Say, like, mostly I'm referring to when it's like parents having a favourite child. I think that's weird as all hell. Like, your kids are great in different ways and you can appreciate them just as much and equally for their differences to each other. I kind of get it when it's like your cousins and stuff. I don't really have an awful lot to do with my cousins, but I know some families do. And I know if I was to have an awful lot to do with my cousins, there's definitely some of them I'd prefer over others. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, when it's like parents having a favorite kid, that weirds me out. And I genuinely think that makes you a bad parent if you have a favorite child. Anyway, for context, Rachel has always had this playful habit of roasting me at family gatherings. It started with harmless jabs like calling me Mum Junior because I'd remind everyone to take their meds or clean up after themselves. Oh, great. There's nothing better than parentifying your children. I'm really side-eyeing OP's parents right now. I laughed it off for years, but at some point it turned mean-spirited. She started calling me Miss Buzzkill, saying I didn't know how to let loose because I preferred reading at home over clubbing. What the hell is wrong with that? Reading at home over clubbing any day. Genuinely, I'd rather a bottle of wine, a takeaway, and a few good books at home. Well, I say that. If I was to drink the wine, I certainly wouldn't be able to read the books and remember what I'd read. There is a reason I really don't drink very often. But yeah, you know what I mean. There's nothing wrong with staying at home. Love a night in. In fact, it's all I ever do. Every night is a night in for me. Without the drink. Too many snacks, though, definitely. Like, there's nothing wrong with being someone who enjoys going clubbing, but don't shite on people who don't. Like, everyone's different. Flash forward to the wedding, Rachel asked me to give a toast as her maid of honour. I thought it was a huge honour, so I worked hard on a heartfelt speech and her finding love and the bond we share as sisters. But when it was Rachel's turn to speak, she gave me this whole jokey speech about the woman I've always looked up to as a reminder of what not to be. Bitch. She then went on to jokingly compare me to a 1950s sitcom mum who probably schedules fun time. By fun time, does she mean like, the fun time in the sheets? Because what the hell? What in the hell? My microphone has just really told me off for shouting then. I do apologise. Everyone laughed, but I felt humiliated in front of 200 guests. Even my parents were cracking up. I wanted to keep it together, but after the speeches ended, I quietly excused myself to the bathroom to cry. When I got back, the jokes hadn't stopped. People at my tables were still making comments about me being a buzzkill while pouring drinks. Are your whole family just bullies, like school playground bullies? I'd have tipped the table. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my purse and left. Since the wedding, Rachel has been blowing up my phone, calling me dramatic and saying I ruined her big day by storming off. My parents are siding with her, surprise, saying it was a joke and I need to loosen up. I told them I'm done being the family punchline, and now everyone's calling me selfish for making the wedding about me. No, they made the wedding about you. Why is your sister so concerned and dogging on you through the whole wedding when it's supposed to be the happiest day with her new husband? Why is she so obsessed with putting you down? I will tell you for why, because your sister's a nasty little bully, and she basically beats you over the head to make herself feel better. Then down in the comments, Forward Plenty says, not the butthole. When someone disrespects you as a person, you remove yourself from their presence. You know this wasn't just poking a little fun. This was downright making you the butt of an ongoing joke. The fact that she would make her speech about you instead of the life in front of her and her new husband is despicable. She can find someone else to humiliate for her jollies from here on out. Blazing Sunflowerland then says, I have to wonder what the husband's family thought about it. Instead of talking about her love for their son and her happiness to be spending her life with him, she decided to mock her sister for working hard and taking care of everyone. I would be disgusted if I heard someone mocking the responsible one. And honestly, I don't even think it's that the OP just happens to naturally be the responsible one. I think it's that the parents have forced all that responsibility on the OP, completely parentified them as a child to the point that now OP has a very warped sense of self and thinks that they have to do this, that they have to look after everyone, otherwise no one will love them. And then they bully them for that. Like, you made OP like this, and then you're going to bully them for that? Honestly, if I was the husband, I'd be there looking at my wife, my new wife, thinking, how quickly can I get a divorce? Like, how fast does the paperwork go through? Because friggin' hell. Like, honestly, they've basically just made OP into their little skivvy and then bully them for being the skivvy. Like, I'm getting hella Cinderella vibes right now. Anybody else? Okay, so this one's actually an update, but I couldn't find the original post, and the poster does basically say what happened anyway, so I don't think we need that context because we kind of get it in here anyway. So update, my mother-in-law hit our son and my husband defended her. Oh my goodness, if someone laid a single finger on one of my kids, I would break them. I would snap off them little fingies. They would be added to my collection. I promise I don't have a collection of fingers. That was a joke. I must clarify because the internet is weird. Hi everyone, it's been a while. I had forgotten about this account, but I was cleaning this computer before selling it and I was still logged in. My goodness, my laptop logs me out as soon as I look away. If I glance away for a second, it logs me out of everything. How the hell is yours still logged in when you forgot you even had it? Anyway, so on my last post, my mother-in-law came in to visit our country. Mother-in-law and my husband Juan are from South Africa. I hope I said that right, by the way. We left her alone with the baby for a moment, only to... A baby? She hit a baby? Oh, yeah, break the arm, not the fingers. Only to find out that she had hit him because he was behaving like a baby. My husband defended her and called me racist because, according to him, every Latin American parent hits their kids and it's not okay. No, I'm not having this, right? I see this quite often where people are, it's quite often on TikTok where parents will be terrible and then people go, oh, it's just their culture. I don't care. I don't care. There is no room in any culture for child abuse. None at all. I don't care if it's your culture. It's not at all. It's an excuse. In no culture should anyone be hitting kids. Like, what the fuck? But it's not okay with me at all. Yeah, I don't blame you, OP. And do you want to know which is the worst culture I know of for using it as an excuse? Like, oh, that's just what we do. That's how we do it here. White, British, working class culture. I don't know what it is. They just seem to love to smack kids and it's weird. I used to always get it from one of my parents. Only one of them. The other one was great. But one of them would always completely lose their crap, smack around the mouth, and then it'd be like, oh, well, that's what my parents would do back in my day. And it's like, well, they also cooked food by using a hamster wheel to power the stove. So let's not go back in your day, please. Do you know what I mean? It's not okay just because it's apparently your culture. No, it's not. I don't think in any culture it's actually inherently okay. I just think people use it as an excuse. So the situation kept going on for a while. This became a huge issue in our marriage. And then Juan professed that he had also hit our son when I wasn't home. This is a friggin' baby. Jail time. Jail, jail, jail. Sorry, that probably sounded horrible on the microphone. He believes that it's the only way to discipline a child and that gentle parenting doesn't work. Yeah, but there's a difference if you've got a 5-year-old who's been a butthead and you have to raise your voice and tell them off. You should never hit. Never hit, because you're just teaching your child that hitting people when you're frustrated with them is okay. But for God's sake, this is a baby. You shouldn't even be raising your voice at a baby. You should be trying to figure out what's wrong with the baby for them to be screaming in the first place. This was it for me. The problems got bigger and bigger while he kept insisting that this way of parenting is the reason why Latin Americans are more resilient than northern countries, and that people in here are too soft and sensitive. Okay, anyone who happens maybe to be Latin American that is listening, do you agree with that? Do you think it's okay to just hit babies and kids? Because I bet you don't. I think this guy is just trying to hide behind his culture, and he's hoping that she won't then question him because he'll be like, but it's my culture. He's trying to hide behind that and use it as a defense blanket. We started fighting every single day, and then I just asked for a divorce. After that, he became so verbally violent that now we communicate through lawyers only. What a surprise. It's not his culture. He's just a violent dickhead. I have plenty of evidence of him confessing to hitting our son. Well, he is in his testimonies, confirms it, but says it's not that serious. You disgusting turd. I can't stand people who think it's okay to hit kids. At all. This is stressful and I'm not doing well, so I have to sell a few things to pay for bills and debts. I'm going for full custody. Good. Well, he is doing the same. He's doing the same. Oh, good luck with that. Good luck. Claiming that I'm an unfit mother for not teaching our son discipline. Well, enough of my drama. I had to go and do something else. Thanks, everyone. Holy just what the hell? This is disgraceful. So, let's have a look at some comments, shall we, and see what they have to say. I think I know what they're gonna say. And then Dark Matters Black says, thanks for standing up for your kid. You're a good mother. Your husband is an ass, to say the least. I have a Latina mother, and she never even attempted to hit me once in my first 20 years of life. Exactly. It's nothing to do with the culture. I moved to a different country when I got married and actually defended me when my dad was about to hit me when I was around 7 to 8. Hitting oftentimes creates adults with a lot of stress, anxiety, and fear to voice out their feelings. Yeah, exactly. I got smacked quite a few times when I was a kid by one of my parents. Guess who has an anxiety disorder? Alison Bent 925 says, exactly. Childhood abuse and trauma creates scars that are evident in adulthood. You are doing right by your child. Good job. Yeah, and can we also please not be sitting there blaming Latina culture for the fact that you are just an abusive turd? Don't go painting the whole entire of a culture with that brush when that is not at all true at all. I need to get that blood pressure monitor, I swear. Next post, am I the butthole for not giving my trans daughter my mother's ring? I posted this on Am I the Butthole and they removed it because of one of the mods really thinks I'm an a-hole. Oh goody, so this is going to be an interesting one to read then, isn't it? I have added a few more details in here that people asked about before it was removed. I haven't removed anything. A few people said that this is me trying to sound like I'm not an a-hole, then I must be a huge a-hole in real life. This is me being as real about things as I can. I am 52, have 2 children we'll call Bob, M26, and Meg, F22. Meg was born male, but began to transition to female a year ago. My dad gave my mum a very large and expensive diamond ring for their 30th wedding anniversary. And when she died in 2009, her will stated that everything went to my dad except that ring, which is to pass on to the next born female in our family. I only have one. Did you hear my ankle crunch then? That was gross. I only have one sibling and a brother, and like me, he didn't have a daughter. So we just figured one of us would eventually have a granddaughter and that she would get the ring. The ring was last appraised in 2004 for 1.2 million. Jeez, that's a lot of money. Oh my goodness. I do not know what it's worth now. Honestly, I would have like a safe and a safe and a safe for that thing. I'd be so scared to lose it. I rarely wear jewelry. I have some very cheap rings that are stainless steel that I love. But they cost like a tenner each. I won't wear anything expensive because I lose jewelry or like honestly, I'm terrible. If I ever actually met someone that I could stand to be with for more than 5 minutes and, actually ended up getting married, we'd have to think of a different solution for a ring because I'm gonna lose it. Meg and I have always had contentious relationship. She was always having problems in school, always causing problems with her mum and brother, wouldn't listen to anyone, had never held a job for more than a few weeks, has been arrested for shoplifting, just been a tough kid to raise. She still lives with us, and we're basically still paying for everything. A few weeks ago, she said she wants my mother's ring. I thought she was kidding, but when I said no and kind of laughed about it, she exploded and called me all kinds of names and threw food all over the kitchen before storming out. Okay, that's a bit childish. I wouldn't be giving her the ring just for the fact that she's clearly not a responsible adult, the fact she still lives with you and you're still paying for everything. Anyway, let's continue reading. I wanted to change the locks while she was gone, but I calmed down because I know that would probably lead to a bad outcome. My wife initially agreed with me, but has now started to think that Meg should get the ring. I am absolutely not going to give her the ring, and here is why. 1. It would fracture my relationship with my brother. Why is that, OP? Is that because your brother is transphobic? I have a feeling it is. 2, I am not 100% sure that Meg didn't transition specifically to get this ring. What? She has said several times that we're dumb not to sell it. A lot of people really took issue with this, and it's the reason my post was deleted. I'm not surprised they took issue with that. Well, it's very extreme to transition just to get a ring. Children have murdered their parents for less money. Meg has already asked her grandparents and us for her share of inheritance. I hate the thought of it too, and I hope it's not true. Now, I don't think she's done that. She's been living as a woman for a year. That would be a really, really weird thing to do just to get a ring that she lives in the same house as and could probably steal if she really wanted to. Do I think Meg has a problem with money though? Yes, I do. Do I think she would immediately sell the ring? Yes, I do, from what we've heard from OP. But again, we're just hearing from OP, we're not hearing Meg's side on this, are we? 3, even though this wasn't an issue my mother even thought about, I am positive that she wouldn't want a trans female to have the ring. Oh my god, just a family of bigots, huh? She wanted the ring to be passed down from daughter to daughter, that so no one could ever lose it in a divorce. Currently, my daughter dates women, which could lead to the exact problem my mum wanted to avoid. 4, someone mentioned she could detransition after getting the ring, and I hadn't even thought of that. Personally, I wouldn't give Meg the ring, and I will tell you why. The reason I wouldn't give Meg the ring is because OP has said she's constantly thieving. She's obviously said she wants to sell it, and the OP wants to keep the ring in the family, and the mum wanted the ring to stay in the family and not be sold. Meg seems like she has a lot of issues with money, so I do think she just wants to sell the ring. Do I think that Meg has decided to live as a woman just to get a ring? No, I do not. That would be crazy. I know people can be really crazy, and it's not out of the scope of reality that someone somewhere might do that, but I just don't see it. I just think Meg's got money issues and she wants to sell it. Even though I'm not happy about it, I am willing to accept my daughter as she is. Oh, so you are transphobic then, because you're not happy about it. Why? Let her live her life and be happy for her. Let her be happy that she's living the way she wants to. She's living as her true self. What's the problem? I don't understand it. I am willing to accept my daughter as she is, and I try my best not to dead name her. Oh, so you do still do it. And after a year, and use the right pronouns. A lot of people said a lot of hateful things about me being transphobic, and if that's how you feel, consider that I still support her, she's on my insurance, and I pay for her medication that insurance doesn't. It's been hard on the whole family, and we're all doing the best we can. Her doctor said that being transgendered may be the reason she struggled so much growing up. Yep. Someone very, very close to me is trans, and they really struggled as a kid. Really struggled with a lot of mental health issues and whatnot. Guess what? Since they've come out, they have come on leaps and bounds. Shocker. Obviously, they knew from early on. Thing is, you can't explain this to people like this because they can't see further than their own nose. I do think it's good that the OP has been supporting her all this time, and I think that's great, but I really do think they need to work on their not so subconscious bias, you know? I don't feel like I'm being an a-hole here, but my wife started to question the situation. I thought maybe I'd get some outside perspectives. A couple of additions since people are asking. The ring is in a safety deposit box in another city. Meg doesn't even know who to contact in order to see if she'd be eligible for the ring. In that sense, I'm stopping her getting the ring. I'm not sure what the exact wording of the will is, but it's a legal document and very specific about how the ring should transfer. If one of us has a cisgendered, I bet you any money it does not say cisgendered in that bloody will. Piss off. I will bet good money it does not. Okay, let me read on. If one of us has a cisgendered daughter that isn't responsible and would want to sell the ring, I would do all I could to stop the transfer. But unless there are stipulations in the will for that, which there might be, I would really have no choice. I mean, yeah, that's the thing that I'm stuck on, is the fact that I genuinely think Meg wants to sell it. So that is why I wouldn't give her the ring, because if it was a family heirloom, I wouldn't want it to be sold either. We don't have any family heirlooms in my family, not that I know of anyway. We come from a long line of poor people and originated from Ireland, so yeah, we didn't have much. I know my nan and granddad, when they came over from Ireland, didn't have a pot to piss in and had about 1 million kids, so there are no family heirlooms for us. But yeah, it's like, I wouldn't want a family heirloom to just be sold flippantly. So I think that is a perfectly good excuse not to give Meg the ring. All the other stuff is bullshit. All of that, it's not relevant. We don't need that. And if that was the only reason that this dude wasn't giving Meg the ring, that would be wholly just disgraceful, if you ask me. I have not told Meg that I suspect she transitioned just to get the ring. I was taught, is she taking medication as well, did he say? Like, by medication, does he mean hormone therapy? Because, yeah, who's gonna do hormone therapy just to get a friggin' ring? Sometimes hormone therapy changes the body in such a way that it is irreversible to a degree. I feel it's a struggle in my mind to believe that someone would do that just to get a bloody ring. I was talking to my wife about it because so many people have mentioned how crazy that is, and it doesn't seem crazy to me, and my wife verbalized it better than I did. She's always treated us, but especially me, like a resource and not family. And yet, that's a fine reason and a completely understandable reason to not let her have the ring, for the fact she's treated you like a resource. It doesn't mean that she's just trans for fun to get a ring. I think what's going on here a little bit is that OP is using this situation to kind of let those transphobic thoughts out and hoping that no one is going to be mean to him about it, because it's obviously just about the ring and not at all about their internalized bias. Not at all. Anyway, Extra Swimming 5984 says, get a oh my god. I can't say that. Get a replica ring made. give it to Meg and see how quickly she sells it. Yeah, and then you get your answer if she is just wanting to sell the ring. I do suspect that she might be, I'm not going to lie, after the fact she says it's crazy that no one wants to sell it. Again, though, I think that has nothing to do with her transition. And then Sleep Man says, honestly, that's diabolical, but it'd prove OP's point pretty fast. I'd play it off like it's a legit even after the fact. Oh, it's not actually valuable? Well, it's meant as an heirloom, so that wasn't the point anyways. And then My Salty Satisfaction says, I like this. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, be prepared that it's going to bite you in the butt incredibly and that your daughter might never want to talk to you again. I think essentially what you have to do is just go to her and say, look, you have the worst track record with money. You live off of us. You don't pay your own way in life. And we genuinely believe you will sell it. And this heirloom needs to stay in the family. If you can prove yourself as a responsible adult, go out, get a job, pay for your own things, pay for your own medications, pay for your own lifestyle, pay for your own, like, going out, your clothes, your food, all of that. Get yourself a house. Prove that you are responsible and that you are not just going to sell this from underneath us. And then we can talk then. So that, you know, your daughter then thinks you actually give a shit. And then you then have some security in place. You could even say, okay, then, once you've proved yourself, you've proved that you can live responsibly and that you can look after yourself and be financially responsible, we will give you the ring, but we will draw up a legal document that says if you sell it, you have to give us all the money. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, you know, but I'm sure there's some sort of legal document that you could write up that says basically if she was to sell it, there would be huge repercussions, you know? Next post, am I the butthole for ending my marriage after finding out my wife was planning to leave me, but only after she stayed long enough to do a small career change? Ouch! Imagine finding that out. Last year, my soon-to-be ex-wife, 32F, told me she wanted to go from being an L&D nurse to a specialist cancer nurse. She was returning to college, cutting back her hours at work, and aiming to be finished in 2 years. I was supportive, although a little surprised. She had always seemed happy with her career and our life with our 2 kids. But I know some people can spontaneously get the urge for something more or different, so it wasn't a big deal. It did put some strain on me because she was so busy I had to take a lot more so she could do less. Previously, it had been 50-50 and it went about 80-20 after she returned to education. About 4 months after she started back at college, I overheard her and her best friend talking. I wasn't due home for an hour, but she had been able to leave early and I had the kids with me. My ex's friend was asking her how she could manage to stay married and keep up the pretense. My ex said if she left me, she would never be able to make the career move. She wouldn't have the time to be a single parent and work and train for her speciality, and that I was able to support her through it as long as I didn't know she wanted out of our marriage. Oh, that's so mean. And would leave as soon as she secured the new job. Her friend said it would all blow up in her face when I realised, and she said she didn't care, and that she effed herself over by working even when we had the kids. Otherwise, she could have left and made me support them until she got a job. Oh my goodness, this woman sounds awful. I waited until her friend was gone and the kids were in bed, and I told her the marriage was over. I was not going to be used until she got what she wanted. She told me I heard it wrong and I was overreacting. She was ready for an argument, but I told her not where the kids could hear, and we waited until the kids were out of the house, and we had it out with each other. She told me I was selfish and shouldn't punish her for changing her mind about us. Like, what even is the reason she wants to leave that would justify her using him like this? I understand if you're with an abusive partner and you need to get your ducks in a row before leaving. I get that, and I'm all for that. I think they've been abusive, they deserve it. But the OP's wife has not pointed out any reason why the OP would deserve to be used like this. She said if I was a good man, I'd encourage her to leave her job and offer to support her until she was ready to leave. What? In the end, I filed for divorce and I moved out of the home. I wanted to fight for the home since I'd lived there before we were together, but her name was on the deed and I didn't want my kids living in a conflict-ridden home. They were already going through a lot and this divorce has been difficult for them. Their mum hates me, and their grandparents and aunts and uncles hate me. They're not allowed to talk about me around them. And I have that what, the kids aren't allowed to talk about their own dad? Okay, so I think we are definitely getting a very good view into which parent is the problem. And I think it's the mum. I have tried to hide how sad I am around them, but I fear they've picked up on it. My ex is fighting the divorce, and her family are telling me I'm selfish and I should Wait, she wanted to leave and now she's fighting the divorce. What is wrong with you? I should understand that a woman has the right to ensure her stability before ending a marriage. Yeah, if the woman has been wronged. But it just sounds like she's decided she wants out for no real reason and has thought that using the OP is acceptable. But she'd be stable without college. Her job was secure, and before this, she worked enough hours to support herself and the kids alone if she had to. She simply doesn't want to continue in that job, and I don't feel like I owe her that support. But maybe I'm wrong about that, and like she and her family say, maybe I'm the butthole. No, you're not the butthole. Again, if you had been abusive, if you had been a shite bag, cheating, blah blah blah, then I'd understand her getting her ducks in a row and I wouldn't feel bad for you at all. However, it doesn't sound like that's the case. It just sounds like the OP's wife has decided she just wants out for whatever reason. Probably one of those cases of the grass looks greener on the other side to her. Do you know what I mean? And now she thinks that that makes it acceptable to use the OP like toilet roll. Like, what? No, you are not the butthole. And it really does show that your wife is the problem because they're not allowing the kids to even talk about the dad around them. Like, you don't do that to your kids. Suck it up. Like, what the hell? And down in the comments, Usual Canary 7764 says she has a right to leave a marriage whenever she deems fit and for whatever reason she has. But so do you. I find it interesting that their problem is not trying to fix the marriage, but to make you her doormat for her comfortable future. Not yours, hers. Not the butthole. Yeah, exactly. Like the audacity to be like, come back here, we are not getting divorced yet. Because I want to use your money for a little bit longer. Like, beggar's belief. The Quiet Hunter then says, there are legal rights and moral rights. She has failed morally and ethically. He needs as far away from her as possible. Well, legally, she has a right to end it. It is super unethical to soak him financially before she leaves. Yeah, exactly. If she wants to leave, cool. Go. Off your pop. But to use the OP like that for no good reason either. I didn't see any good reason in there cited why at all. Like, ugh, get your own money, you little skiv. The title to this one is insane. Am I the butthole for being mad at my husband for saying he would pick his deceased wife over me? Those are words to ruin a marriage with. What? My 34F husband, 37M, was married once before me. She was his high school sweetheart. They started dating their junior year, survived long distance during college, and got married when they were both 23, very shortly after graduating college. She passed away unexpectedly at age 26 from an aneurysm, and it obviously devastated him, especially because they were extremely young. They never had children. I find aneurysms one of the scariest things ever because I just think to myself, like, any one of us could be walking around with one and they are a ticking time bomb. I can't think about it too much. I will put myself into hypochondriac hell. He contemplated remarrying because he was so heartbroken, but we ended up meeting about 4 years after that. We got married when I was 31 and he was 34 and have 2 children. Yeah, I'm sure OP's husband has a lot of trauma from that, but still, I feel that that trauma does not make what is about to go down acceptable. Last night, we were at a friend's potluck gathering. Everything was going well until one of our friends brought up a new topic that had to do with relationships. She is newly divorced, so it was about her divorce. Others were chiming in with past relationships from high school, college, etc. I had said I never thought I would get married because my luck with men has always been terrible. I feel you on that one, my friend. I feel you. I'm like, I said the other day, actually, me and my friend were having a conversation about marriage and stuff. She has a new fella and that she has said that she's not ruling out marriage. She's been married before. I've never been married. And I've never really been one that dreams about a wedding and what have you. I'm like, if it was to happen, it happens. But I genuinely don't see it happening because all of my exes have been turds. No, that's a lie. That's a big lie. Some of them, it was just that, we weren't compatible and we've stayed friends after breaking up. But both times I have tried a serious relationship with someone, that's lasted a few years. The trauma. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, OP says that they never thought they would get married because their luck with men has always been terrible until I met my husband and said I felt very lucky to have met him. After a while longer, my husband brings up his deceased wife. Everyone knows he was married before me and that she passed. He was talking about her and then drops a bomb and goes, "If she walked through that front door right now, I'd pick up where we left off." Hey! What the hell? Your wife is right there. Right there. You can't see I'm gesticulating passionately right now because I'm so flabbergasted. If I am being honest, it felt like someone put my heart into a blender and punched me in the gut as hard as they could. Yeah, I can bet it did. Everyone in the room could sense the awkwardness that followed. To avoid making a scene, I just laughed it off, even though I think it was still obvious that it hurt me. I just felt that if you still felt that way, then why are we married? I've never asked him to get over his wife. I have never had a deceased spouse or even a deceased partner, so I am unsure how that feels, but I would never say that in front of my new spouse. After the gathering, we left, and I did not speak to him the entire car ride home, or barely the entire night. I did tell him that what he said hurt my feelings deeply, and that we could talk in the morning once I've calmed down, because I didn't want to say something mean to him. I ended up sleeping on the couch because he would not leave me alone. I mean, he's probably in guilt overdrive and he's trying to backpedal furiously. It's now the next morning and I barely slept. He is still sleeping and I'm not really sure what to say or what he will say. I think, honestly, it's totally acceptable if you've had a partner, a wife that has passed on during your relationship. The relationship did not end because you decided you hated each other. It didn't end because someone cheated. It didn't end because of anything bad. It purely ended against your will because they died. I think it's absolutely acceptable to keep that person in your heart for the rest of your life. You're always going to love them. Any partners that you get with beyond that should be accepting of the fact that they are a part of your life still in a way. However, once you have a new partner, you should have been able to move forward with your grief to a point that you would not have that thought. You would probably maybe be like, oh yeah, if they walk through the door now, I'd be so happy that they're okay. We could be best friends, but I have you now and I have a new life. So that would be all it would be, But I just can't imagine why he thought that was a good thing to say. So down in the comments, Thor4852 says, "My wife and I currently separated. I recently was told that her previous relationship, the bio dad of the kids I was raising, was her true soulmate and that she wishes he didn't off himself. Haven't stopped thinking about that for 1 second. Some thoughts should never be spoken into existence." Yeah, exactly. It's going to make the person feel second fiddle. Like they're never going to be good enough. They're always competing with someone who doesn't even live in this realm any longer, And then the OP replies to that saying, "I'm very sorry to hear that. She told you that or someone else told you? Either way, that should not have been told to you." And then Kuro Yamiyashi, I think. I'm getting worse and worse at reading these bloody usernames. "This is the kind of feeling or thoughts that should only be said out loud to a therapist, and because you're trying to work through it. If I ever felt something like this, not even my best friend would hear about it, and definitely not my partner. I'm terribly sorry that you had to hear this from your husband's mouth." Yeah, I think it's okay to have these feelings, these questions, these what ifs, but they're not something you should say to your partner unless you want your partner to forever feel inadequate. And I'm not sure how reversible saying something like that really is, you know. How do you come back from that in a relationship? And then we have an update. This may be a long one. I also tried to reply to as many comments as I could, but they were flooding in and I got a bit overwhelmed. May still try to read and reply to them. Many brought me to joyous and grateful tears. Also, alcohol was not involved in the sense that he wasn't drunk. My husband is 6'3" and almost 250 pounds. He had eaten quite a bit and had one beer. He was practically sober. Yeah, so we can't even excuse it with, oh, he just didn't have a clue what he was saying because he was absolutely pie-eyed. Anyway, we talked. I asked him to let me go first and to not interrupt. He doesn't usually interrupt anyway. This isn't verbatim, just a rough sketch of how things went. I also included points some of you made, without mentioning I posted about this, of course, yeah. Probably a good idea. Me. I just want to say that I do not hate you for what you said. I understand where you're coming from. She died, and it was something neither of you saw coming. I could never ask you to get over her or to forget her because I know how much you loved her. She was your first love. I do understand that. If she hadn't passed, we would likely not be together, and you two likely would be. I have always understood this. But to say what you said hurt my feelings and embarrassed me. And even though her coming back from the dead is impossible, if it were, you would leave me and the children? It was probably one of the worst things anyone has ever said to me. It is clear your feelings about her are still raw and it still hurts, and I want you to get counselling, and I want couple counselling very soon. He then apologised profusely, teared up, and said how he did not mean to hurt me and embarrass me in front of our friends. He basically said that he thought about it before he went to sleep and came to the realisation that he should have kept it to himself. I mean, I can't be angry for what he thinks. He loved her, and she died. His feelings are also valid here. Also said that he would never leave me and the children, and that what he said was just a poorly thought out and poorly worded statement. I mean, I don't know how you could word that any other way that would make it okay, but okay. That he was not thinking clearly when he said it. He immediately felt that maybe it came out wrong. I asked him how he would feel if I said that to him. He says, yeah, it's bad, I know, I shouldn't have said it. I wouldn't be happy, I know you aren't happy. I should have apologised in front of everyone as soon as I said it, or not have said it at all. I then asked him to think of the children and said, it's like you saying, hey, children's name. If my dead wife walked through the door, I'd pack my bags and never speak to you guys again. And then it really got uncomfy. After some silence, I had no idea what to say after that. He asked me if I wanted to divorce. So I asked him why he would think I would want a divorce just to see what he would say. He says he doesn't know. I didn't answer his question and said we needed to look into counselling. That he needed to get counselling for himself and that we should go to couples counselling, and if the answer is no, I'm not interested in moving forward. This isn't 100% about the comment anymore. I need to know if he is willing to make the necessary changes and put in the work to fix what he messed up. Because if he were to dismiss my feelings or not want counselling, it means he doesn't think this was that serious and that he may not take me seriously. I also said this to him. Some of the comments also told me to take the kids elsewhere. I agreed with this because it would be difficult to get through this whilst also parenting. I've got a very young daughter and a son that is a toddler. They are currently with my parents for the weekend and I'll be getting them Sunday night, so this gives us time to really work. He suggested he sleep on the couch instead of me. I have nowhere else to go. I haven't told my parents because I really would like to keep this situation between me and him as much as possible. Family and friends jump to judge too fast and sometimes offer extreme and harmful advice, and it's also embarrassing. Luckily, we both have very good insurance that will help with counselling. I told him that it seems like whatever counselling he got after her death was not enough and that he was not consistent with it like he should have been. With trauma like that, I personally would have been in counselling for years before I even considered remarrying. He agreed. He was only in it for about a year and then stopped once he moved away from his hometown. Never got back into it. Okay, yeah, so he definitely dropped the ball there. He also agreed to the individual and couples counselling, kept apologising, kept telling me he loved me all day. It was also difficult to be around him because he kept looking at me. I couldn't think. It was like he would try to say something and then he would just stare and not say anything at all. Okay, that would really put me off. Just for the fact I'd be like, stop friggin' looking at me. With the kids gone, there's nothing to really do except talk, so we talked again right before dinner time. He asked me if I wanted him to cook or buy something. I still was not hungry, to be honest, so I just told him he could pick something up for himself and that I wasn't hungry, and that prompted the second discussion. Realised he must feel really bad because he noticed I hadn't really eaten much all day. Kept asking me to eat. I wasn't sulking too bad or anything, just doing my usual tasks, but not speaking or eating as much, and because we're home together all day, he noticed this. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those. I go either way. If I'm really stressed, I'm either eating everything in sight or I'm eating nothing at all. It really varies. Asked me one more time to please eat dinner with him, so I agreed. During dinner, he told me that he looked for counsellors himself and wanted me to see if I thought they were okay enough and that he would keep looking. I mean, he's definitely trying to show that he wants to be proactive, which is great. Last stretch. After all that, I told him that we can't really predict anything until we've met with the ouch, that was not nice. One of the cats jumped up on my knee and tried to grab on with the claws. After all that, I told him we really can't predict anything until we've met with the therapist. I don't want him to keep saying sorry. I want to work and change, and then maybe we can move forward, but this is the first step. I don't want to just leave him. I am also not saying divorce is off the table. I think he is still hurting from her death, and his judgment is very, very clouded. If he didn't love me, I doubt he would have apologised so many times and looked for counsellors on his own. A man that doesn't love me probably would have made me look or rejected going altogether. Oh, for sure. Definitely. Many people were suggesting this. I do not think he doesn't love me. No, I don't think that either. Do I think he's dense for saying what he said? Oh my goodness, yes. It's okay to have those thoughts. We keep those inside though. Thought of this myself, cried about it, thought of my children, cried more. I'm not staying for the kids. I'm staying because I want to at least try to fix. If it cannot be fixed, then at least I tried. Yeah, for sure. It's worth working on. I just think he's got some confusing thoughts about it all, which are perfectly okay to have, and he forgot what are inside thoughts and what are outside thoughts. We were also very close. Some people were asking how close we were prior to marriage, I guess as a way to gauge the difference between their relationship and our relationship. Maybe to see if he settled. He was always very romantic, caring, and sweet to me. We've never yelled at each other. When we first started dating, he would plan dates, surprise me, brag about me to my friends. So that's why I am very confused on why he would blurt that. Unless it was just very poor brain and mouth coordination. Yeah, I reckon so. The thing is, grief isn't linear. Grief can come up and down and pop up when you least expect it, and you can have these uncertain feelings about that grief and about the way you've been living your life since. But you don't need to say it at a dinner party. Talk about it with a flippin' therapist. I also told him that I may get a counsellor for myself. I don't think I need one. Someone suggested this, but I think he needs it more than I do. No, I think it would be a good idea for OP, because whether OP thinks that they are going to have issues or not, they're going to have some problems with feeling inadequate, and that's perfectly normal, but it's definitely going to be something you're probably going to want to work on before it starts to eat you up. And because insurance companies are getting shitier by the year, 3 counselling bills may be pushing it, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I totally understand that. If I do get one, it's because I don't want to potentially resent him or doubt myself. Some people were making attempts to make me doubt myself. Some people in the comments were very nasty to me. Of course they are, it's the internet. There's always going to be that one prick or know-it-all that has to just be contradictory for no reason, or be an ass, or be like, I don't agree with you. I think that... Shut up. There's always one. I appreciate Reddit hiding comments with many downvotes as they seem to be mean, but I couldn't help but click. Some of you are very, very mean and very nasty individuals, and I hope you find happiness one day. Oh, yeah, again, it's the internet. You're always going to find that one person who's got to be contradictory and mean for no flipping reason. There could be another update in the future, not opposed to making one. Thank you all for your kind words and support. I've also responded to everyone that texted me, which was everyone there at the potluck that has my number. 3 people, there were 9 people there, not including us. They've all basically said the same thing. They can't believe it. He said that. They feel bad for me, asking if everything is okay, what he said was not okay, etc. He showed me some of the texts with him and his friends, and some made me cry with how kind they were being towards me. I love that. Too often we see in stories that you read on Reddit where the partners or the person who's wronged the OP, their friends also like double down on it too and be equally as asshatty. So this is really nice. This is very nice to see. And I think it speaks to what kind of person OP is as well. I really do. Basically telling him he wasn't necessarily wrong for thinking that, but wrong for saying it. I told him I loved him as well, and I have never not loved him even for a second, and that I wasn't angry with him and didn't want him to, I guess, suffer for what he said. But I was just hurt and needed him to know that it did hurt me and him to respond how he saw fit, and we'd go from there. This is all for now. I could possibly answer more questions here, if you have any. I tried to answer some of the more frequently asked ones that I saw. Again, sorry for this being so lengthy. Yeah, I genuinely think that this is a marriage that is worth working on. The OP's husband really put his foot in his mouth and he should never ever have said that, but it's absolutely okay to have confusing thoughts like that in your grief. That's okay. You just don't speak it. Learn from this OP's mistakes, everyone. This OP's husband's mistakes, should I say. So then, let's look at the comments. Sparkling Wine 23 says, your family therapist may want to do an individual session with each of you at some point, so that may help you decide if you want to pursue your own sessions for your own mental health. I think you're taking a measured path that will hopefully get you to a better place. Yeah, I think this is a really good way to do it instead of going, ruin the marriage, divorce, like, because realistically, they both really love each other, and this just seems like a terrible, terrible miscommunication. OP, I didn't think of this. Hopefully that happens. Thank you. And then Sickanat says, you handled this so well, OP. You're just so empathetic and kind while your heart hurts, and that truly sucks. Whatever happens, you put the work in to exhaust every avenue before deciding to stay or go. You should be proud of yourself for this. I'm still mad on your behalf. Oh, absolutely. But it's ultimately up to you and current husband putting in the majority of the work here. I wish you tons of good vibes and hope everything works out the way it should be. Yeah, and I think it really could. I do. And on that note, we're going to leave it there for today. Some very, very different stories there, but all very interesting and some quite infuriating. So if you made it all the way to the end, then I appreciate you and I thank you very, very much. I'd appreciate you even more if you left a like and a subscribe so you could find your way back here. I would love to see you back here, so make sure you do tap that subscribe button. Other than that, I hope you have a really good rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Goodbye.